Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is Meet the Movie Press. Roundtable movie news and commentary from the industry's premier film journalists.
Well, good morning, Schmoville. This is Meet the Movie Press. I'm Marc Graser, editor-in-chief of schmoesno.com.
Jeff Sneider, film reporter, The Wrap.
.com?
Wherever.
How you doing, man?
.net, .org, whatever you want, buddy. I'm good. I'm exhausted. It was a long day yesterday with the Oscar nominations. I'm still standing. Or sitting, in this case.
Yeah, sitting, standing, ruminating on these Oscar noms,
and
man.
Drinking the gingerest of ales.
Ooh, ginger ale. I like it. I'm drinking the gingerest of... No, that doesn't work. Coffee for me, always in the morning. So this is a great show. I just want to let you know, guys, I am on the live chat. My computer is taking a fart here on the desk. I don't know what's going on with it. So once it kind of figures it out, I'll get to some chatting.
Yeah, there'll
be
some engagement, some back and forth. We'll keep it lively.
There will be, but I know you're out there, and thank you for joining us every Friday on Meet the Movie Press, and we got a great show. I'm very excited with our guest that's coming in.
Yep.
He's a big guy. He's a big one.
Another one that I arranged. We're going to have my old coworker, Marc Graser from Variety.
There you go.
He took a time out of his very busy schedule. Lots of news to discuss this week. You know, the agents came back from the holidays and they were ready to make some deals, let me tell you.
I know, and man, so many things broke this week, not including the Oscar noms, which is a very hot topic because there was a lot of people said there's a lot of snubs. I tend to agree. There was a lot of disappointments for me personally.
And some pleasant surprises as well. Let's give the Academy some credit.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about it. Absolutely.
Everything's absolute.
Everything is absolute here on Meet the Movie Press. So should we just get right to it?
Yeah, let's bring him out here. Guys, very pleased to have Marc Graser, senior editor at Variety.
Yes. We got some... canned applause for you, Mark. You can't hear it. But keep that rolling, JT, so I can hear it.
We want him to feel the love here.
Yeah. That's from the live studio audience that is standing behind the studio. They're not actually
We've got a little delay here, so it's like I'm watching the show and Mark is not on the YouTube page yet.
Okay,
it's
good.
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he is here. Mark, how are you?
Hey, guys. I'm doing well.
Good. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
It's I've been a big fan of yours. I've been a big fan of Variety for so long. You've done some really good scoops too that we're going to get into.
Absolutely, we're gonna take a deep dive on Mark's big Robert Downey Jr. Captain America.
Yeah, guys.
Scoop.
This is the guy. So when Robert Downey Jr. was announced he was going to be in Civil War, and a lot of people went, no, he's only doing Avengers 1 and 2 or next, or the Avengers, whatever there was going to be, Age of Ultron, and then the third one, and then all of a sudden, Mark comes around and says, no, he's going to be in Civil War.
And there's a very interesting backstory, and Mark's going to tell us whatever he can about it.
Yes.
But Mark,
Yes.
how long have you been, at Variety?
Well, it's been a long time. So I started in '98 as an intern. That lasted. It was a short time. It was my way into the publication. They needed a technology reporter, and I was like, well, I can do that. I know websites and what's going on back then. And all of a sudden, the dot-com boom happened, and it was a perfect position for me. So I was there for 6 years. I went to advertising age for 3. Still covered entertainment, the whole branded entertainment space. And then went back to Variety, and it's nice because I can cover a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, the branding is interesting to me because it's so. I mean, Jeff and I were talking a little bit about it. I mean, it's so important in this landscape now, and then but to also get that scoop with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, it sounds like you got your hand in everything.
Yeah, and it's basically I cover all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that gets plugged in, basically, all the comic book companies, the video game companies.
You were just at CES, right?
Was at CES for a week. Yeah. So much going on there too.
Yeah,
what was the coolest thing you saw down there?
Well, the thing with this year at CES was it was basically the same stuff you saw last year. It just works now. And the smartphones, the flat TVs. it's going to be an interesting world for us in the next several years, especially in how we get entertainment in front of us. And we're going to be spending a lot more time at home watching these giant screens that are beautiful.
Wow.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
I like my couch.
I'm okay with that.
I'm pretty lazy.
I want to be more lazy and watch more TV on big TVs. So that's really cool. So what have you been doing now? I mean, I know you did the Robert Downey Jr. scoop, which I want to talk about, but what's your bread and butter, would you say, at Variety? Is it entertainment, movies, comics, the branding?
Yeah, it's pretty much everything. So on the studio side, I have Disney and everything they own, and they keep buying more companies. So, there was a day where a studio was laying off, a lot of people, and I go to my colleague and I'm like, my studio bought Star Wars today. So it's just one of those situations where you just don't know what's going to happen. But, Marvel, Pixar, Lucasfilm, they're all doing so much stuff right now.
Oh, God. Disney. I'm reading the Star Wars book, How Star Wars Conquered the Universe, and I just at the end of the book where they just purchased Lucasfilm, and to hear all about the behind-the-scenes stuff. Did you guys, I know I'm going to deviate a little bit, but you guys, I was reading that, and it was so secretive, and you just made me think of this. It was so secretive that Disney was going to buy Lucasfilm, and all the Lucasfilm employees were like, oh, something's up. Something big is going to happen. Were you around for that? Were you ready for that?
Yeah.
Did you know that was coming? Or?
Nobody knew it was coming.
Okay.
And I recently was talking to Bob Iger about it, and he was on a panel too for something, and he was saying only a few people knew about it.
Yeah.
And for him, loyalty is such a big deal at the company, and for that never to have gotten out was such a big deal for him.
Wow.
Yeah, these days it's hard to keep a secret.
Yeah, it really is. So
let's just get into the Robert Downey Jr. thing. So
I do. I want to know.
From what I understand, now obviously I'm at a rival publication and not privy to your process, but I understand it took like months that you were on this news and you sort of held off for the bigger story, so to speak.
It was a couple weeks, and so the first tip I got was that Downey was being written out of the script completely.
Out of the Civil War script?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was always going to be part of it, but he was asking too much money, and suddenly the head of Marvel was like, and this isn't Kevin.
This is Ike?
This is Ike.
Okay.
Suddenly got very angry and ordered the screenwriters to just write him out of the script completely. And so we're done. He's not going to be in it.
Okay.
Which then was going to cause problems because Kevin Feige has this big 7-year plan. And he needs Iron Man to be in the movie to, set it off.
So there would have been reverberations throughout the MCU. We would have felt
absolutely.
It.
I mean, the entire plan for all the movies coming out after that, and we're talking every movie, not just Captain America or the Avengers. It's everything leading up to the next. We're talking 7 years of movies.
Yeah, and there's so much news out there happening. I mean, I'm reading spoilers left and right. I'm not going to get into them. Unless you guys want to. Do you? No. But that's interesting from the business perspective to see that Feige was like, no, we need him to set us off into the 7 years, is what you're saying.
And here's why.
Here's why. From a creative standpoint, it sounds like. From creatively. So this is how the business can actually affect the creative. So you got to back a Brinks truck up to get Downey Jr. in to see your vision, basically.
And it wasn't all about the money. It was about the role too, and then size of the role.
Oh, that's what I heard. Downey Jr. really wanted to be a part of it, right?
He basically is
instrumental in the story.
Yeah, absolutely. He loves the Iron Man character. He loves Tony Stark. He loves the fans too.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep hearing from his camp too. It's like, no, this is my role, and I love being in it, and I don't want to see somebody else come in and take it over.
Especially not a 13-year-old.
And you can feel that passion and commitment in the performance, I think, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the best.
So he wanted the role to be bigger, and now it is. So at the end of the day, they pulled it off, and now you're going to have this really amazing, it's basically Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. So we get Avengers, Age of Ultron. Then we're gonna get into Civil War, which is gonna be like more Avengers. And I hear Black Widow is gonna be in it and all this kind of stuff. Then you're going into Black Panther and all the other stuff. Well, you guys know. I don't have to say it.
In terms of the timing, like how did you know when to post that story, when the time was right, et cetera?
And that's the thing with what we do now. It's, you hear that tip. It's obviously a huge story. He's going to be written out of the script. No, Iron Man in this movie. We got to post this now. I had written it up already. We were ready to go, had a headline and everything, and then I was like, something seems weird. Like, if there is this big plan, they're going to try to get him into the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just say goodbye and then suddenly have a new script written and then everything's changed.
And Ike's kind of that kind of guy, though, who makes those rash, like, write him out.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to make the deal, get rid of him.
But he's the money, too. So it's
Sure.
like, well, so I wanted to talk to some more people. And,
Okay.
you know, there was the fear that it would get out to another person and they would run the story.
Yeah.
But I'm glad
Someone
I
like
waited.
me waiting in the weeds.
Someone like you.
Yeah.
Their night vision.
So you held off, and obviously
I didn't sleep for a whole weekend. You know, I'm checking every site every day, Twitter feeds, like just panicking. And I was like, please don't get out there. So I'm glad I waited because I had the patience, they came back to me and said, no, here's the real story. We actually did the deal. And we pulled it off, and here's what it's going to be.
So did you get confirmation from Marvel and they said, okay, run it? Or is it kind of like you got a confirmation from a really good source and you're like, okay, I can run this now?
And that's how it works with Marvel. Marvel's super secretive, so is DC. They will work with you if you come to them with information, but you can't just say, hey, look, give me something. Or,
right.
You know,
you can't go on a fishing expedition with Marvel because they can smell it. But yeah, in my experience, Marvel has been pretty fair.
They want to work with you because they know that every little detail is going to be picked apart by their fan base.
Right.
And, you know, there's nothing... They want the accurate information out there, too.
Right.
So would you say that Marvel is more comfortable talking to the trades, like the rap variety? I mean, they're not talking to me.
It's not. Listen, I'll put it this way. I don't think I've ever spoken to a Marvel employee, other than when maybe I asked Kevin a question about Peter Solid and Runaways at the the Marvel Experience thing.
Yeah.
I do not have Marvel sources. I'll be very frank about that. I get my information elsewhere, so I don't know so much that I'm talking to Marvel, but interacting with people around them, and yeah, they've been very fair with me.
Yeah,
in a way that DC is almost like more tight-lipped.
Yeah.
You?
Well, I mean, they're kind of like that with me too. I mean, at the end of the day, no one has to talk to us.
Right.
I'm always surprised that producers talk to us anyway. Like, studios don't have to say anything.
They don't
about
owe
their
you an
movies.
answer.
They're spending $100 million on a movie. There's a lot riding on these projects.
Yeah.
They don't have to tell us anything. So
Sure.
we come along and we ruin their day by saying, oh, this person's in it. We just, are ruining the surprise of the film with a casting or with a plot point. And, I mean, that's the downside of what we do.
But here's the thing about that. So, like, how many things do we get told, well, that's totally secret, and then it's in the trailers?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and
I mean, they're giving away as many secrets as we are in some of these marketing materials and stuff.
True.
And why is, let's say, Robert Downey Jr. reprising his role as Iron Man in Civil War? Why is that a big secret? I mean, that's going to be,
That's a selling point.
That's the selling point. That's going to make the fans, froth at the mouth, and they're
it was a secret at that time because there was no deal.
Exactly, I get that, but like, when they're ready and they sign the deal, I mean, they're not going to be mad that you're putting it out there.
My favorite case in covering Marvel is when Iron Man 2 was about to happen. They wouldn't confirm that Jon Favreau was directing the movie, and yet he was in New Mexico building sets and talking about being on set and making the movie. And I'm like, well, can you finally confirm that he's doing it?
Yeah.
So that happened. They've gotten better about that.
Yeah.
I think that they have a really good press team. I mean, I'm sure that they have internal publicists as well, but they use Paul Flug and his company for corporate communications. So, as long as you have a good relationship with those guys, I think that they will treat you fairly.
Yeah.
They always want to do the Jedi mind trick, though. It's like, there is no story here. It's like, well, but I'm watching it.
Sure.
Right now,
Warner Brothers and DC definitely do the same thing, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good segue because we were talking a little bit about it, and it's going to stay on the Marvel topic.
Sure.
And it is a hopeful news break. Hopeful news break.
Hopeful news break.
There it is. Guys, it's back. Thank you so much. Every Wednesday on Meet the Movie Press on the Popcorn Talk Network. That's a mouthful. We do a hopeful news break. You guys, you can drop in your wish, so to speak, and we will discuss it because I actually brought something up that one of you fine folks dropped in, and Mark had something to say about it that was very interesting to me. So I'm going to butcher your name, Fasai Shahid. I'm hoping that's what it is, and it's I want Spidey to be in the MCU. and he wants Dylan O'Brien from the Maze Runner and Teen Wolf fame to be playing Peter Parker. Now, let me give you some backup here. Yesterday, Latino Review kind of dropped a big rumor, or was it a couple days ago, that Spider-Man, the deal is set. He's going to be in Infinity War Part 1. I also hear there's going to be, spoiler alert, by the way, if you guys haven't heard, that there's going to be a whole new team of Avengers in the first one, and then the second one will kind of reunite a lot of them, but Spidey is in it, and they're going to cast a new actor. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Latino Review does have a pretty good track record, but Mark, I want you to tell the audience what we were talking about a little bit.
Well, I mean, there's obviously the rights issue.
Yes.
You know, the Avi Arad controls Spider-Man over at Sony.
Yeah.
In order for him to agree to allow Spider-Man to be in the Disney movies, it would take a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only thing he's got really right now. So, I mean, Disney right now controls the merchandise rights for all the Spider-Man movies. They bought it from Sony a couple years ago.
They're still making all the money from the toys and the backpacks.
And that's where you make most of your money anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they would love Sony Spider-Man to be in one of their movies, and it would just, boost sales. But they don't need it. So
they don't need it, but on the other hand, it's like, here we are, they're gonna have the two biggest movies of the year between Star Wars and Avengers. Why not spend some of that profit on Spider-Man, getting Spidey back?
Yeah, and I mean, it's the fans. I mean, because Spider-Man, Christian Harloff on the main show last night said something that I totally agree with, in that it seems like Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, not the movies, but just in the Marvel brand, he's the Batman of DC, like meaning Batman's the most popular in DC. Spider-Man is the most popular in Marvel. I think it's shifting a bit because of the MCU, but if you put Spider-Man in the Avengers, I'm a geek. Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel character. I would flip out to see Marvel have their hands on it. It'd be huge.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying, and
it's all about a business. It's the business decisions and the business deals. It's not about the creative. Kevin Feige would love Spider-Man to be in the movies. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, making that work is going to cost so much money.
It's going to be really tough. And so, have you guys checked into this rumor that's going out there?
And yesterday, I reached out to Marvel too, and they were wondering why it popped up again. They had no clue why it suddenly.
Are you telling me they don't read Latino Review every day?
They read everything. Yeah. And partly because we end up calling them about it too.
Right. So. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So when Latino Review drops a scoop, and maybe less or so like when Schmoes Know drops a scoop, or even Collider or Slash Film, these geek blogs, as I call them, no disrespect because I run one. Do you guys go, and check into it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I read
like
everything. Read everything. You have to.
Pretty much, yeah. I only look into the ones on those sort of reputable sites. If it's... there
superhero hype.
There are some sites like that, comic book sites, where it's like, I'm not going to put take time out of my day or put a lot of energy into looking into stuff. But,
I agree.
Yeah, when Latino Review or Collider, whoever it may be, like that, drop something, you guys, you have to.
Yeah.
Can't afford not to.
And that's interesting, Mark, to hear that Marvel's like, hey, why is this rumor back? I mean, so it does seem, just by you saying that, I said last night that where there's smoke, there's fire. And I keep hearing this and it keeps popping up, but is this like a forced fan thing? Is this like... and I'm not going to throw Latino Review and say bad things about them, but are they throwing this out there just to get some attention? I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm friends with my NBA, and that team is awesome. But I want to know...
I know how seriously my NBA takes these things, and I don't think that he would throw something out there just for attention.
Yeah,
I think that he probably has a source.
Yeah.
Or multiple sources, Listen, Marvel has... with the Sony emails that leaked, it was clear Sony was lying. Yeah, they were definitely talking about it, and Sony lied to trade journalists as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
You?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going...
I would not be surprised if Marvel has, screenwriters working on scripts with Spider-Man in them, just to have it ready.
There you go.
So that when the deal is in place, they can go ahead and do it.
Okay, now I'm going to loop around again to Robert Downey Jr. There was no announcement. There was very secretive stuff going on because there wasn't a deal. Same thing here. Maybe there's talk. I mean, I do think now, I'm going back and forth, devil's advocate. There's sources that me and Latino Review are talking to, so there might not be a deal, but it seems like there's talk, right?
You're not going to see one of those giant press events like we saw where they announced 20 movies and suddenly have Spider-Man coming out on stage.
Right.
That's not happening anytime soon.
I think that they're talking. That's my hunch.
Yeah.
If I was Sony, I would rebuild the character and the property over at Marvel, and then once there's enough, goodwill again for Spider-Man, then bring him in and do a standalone or whatever.
I totally agree.
And
with
I do think that personally, I think that we've seen the last of Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, guys, I there's a lot of hopeful news here that I do want to get to, but a lot of them is they want to hear that if Spidey goes over, they want Andrew Garfield to be Spider-Man.
I think Andrew Garfield's really good as Spider-Man. Do you like him?
I like him, but I like this Dylan O'Brien idea too.
Okay.
To me,
great.
they're all, Dylan O'Brien, Logan Lerman, whoever, it seems like they're very much in the Tobey Maguire mold. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a radical new take on Spider-Man.
Are you guys familiar with the Ultimate line in the comics, Miles Morales?
Whoever, that would be cool.
That would be really cool
dude,
to see.
To me, Dev Patel would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So, guys, you kind of heard it from the experts. Maybe no deal yet. I like your idea, Jeff. So no like Infinity War Part 1 for Spidey. Just get him in his own movie to establish the character first, and then
not even necessarily. I'd be fine with Spider-Man in an ensemble movie over at Marvel. I think that is how you build it up. I don't think that Sony would give the standalone rights to Marvel.
Right.
I think they would say licensed character. What?
The other thing to consider too is Disney doesn't have financial partners on their movies. They don't like to share on anything.
Right.
So
that's a good point.
Why would they suddenly start doing this with Sony? What does that financial deal look like? Ugh, it's so messy, but having the conversation, why not? Why not do it?
If they can make Spider-Man cool again, they're also, like you said, they have the merchandising rights.
Yeah.
Like that.
We're talking about a studio that is trying to merge Men in Black with the 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street, yeah. Which is batshit insane, and I want to see it. I don't know why. I just want to see it. I want to see if it flounders, if it's a spectacular mess, if it's a spectacular success. It just is ridiculous. And I was talking to some of my colleagues about it. We were like, what the hell? Sure. Why not? And just to finish out the hopeful news break here, because I want to try to read more, but you guys threw in a lot. Amy Blood. What a great name. Amy Blood. Just to kind of go off of this point, how difficult it is to bring Spider-Man from another studio. Amy asked, do you think with the expanding comic book universe we'll ever get a DC Marvel crossover movie as in Justice League versus the Avengers? Hell no.
Never.
Amy, that is fan service at its best. I want that. Absolutely. I would love to see that.
Basically, it's like who wins? Who wins in that movie? Who's left standing? Because that's the other studio is going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah, and that's a good point, Jeff. Amy, you would have Warner Brothers and you would have Marvel and or Sony, if Spider-Man were ever to be in there, fighting for who would win at the end, because it's their property and they want their team to come out on top, right?
Yeah, so, I think so.
I think that is...
and the budget would be like $600 million.
Yeah, so...
That's where things are heading.
Yeah.
Let's talk about yesterday's news.
Yeah, so yesterday, guys...
Suicide Squad.
Jeff, that was a great scoop. Very excited. Guys, if you don't know, okay, Tom Hardy drops out of Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Now, I do want to talk a little bit about a rumor I heard last night on the main show that I didn't hear.
Okay.
Now, I totally believe that Tom Hardy dropped out because of The Revenant and its scheduling issues. Is there any truth to this rumor I heard that he didn't like Will Smith and wanted out? Or is it just scheduling?
I have no idea if Tom Hardy likes Will Smith, and I suspect that any blogger or whoever is reporting that doesn't know either.
Yeah, I didn't report that. I wrote the article. I covered the news. I covered yours. I mean, and what I said in my article was I was bummed Tom Hardy left, but if Jake Gyllenhaal jumps in, it cancels it out, and it's still awesome.
Yeah.
So where did Jeff start there? Where did you... Because it seemed like what I said again was like Hollywood Reporter gets the exclusive that he's leaving, and then like 5 minutes later, at least in my Twitter feed, you were there with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Right. No, I was... this all happened within 10 minutes. I got the tip that Hardy was out, and that's what I should look into. I called Warner Brothers. I called Tom's reps. I couldn't get through to them. That's because I think Boris had gotten... the same information, and I think he was on the other line.
Yeah.
So he just beat me out with the Tom Hardy of it all.
Okay.
And then once the Tom Hardy of it all was like, I was like, crap. And I made one more call or two more calls, and was just like, has anybody heard of The Replacement? And the name Gyllenhaal started coming back at me, and it made sense with he's worked with David Ayer on End of Watch.
Yep. He's
actually completely available. He has like 3 or 4 movies in the can, but there's nothing like in development other than The Man Who Made It Snow with Fuqua, and I think that is going to need some time because Fuqua's doing post on Jake's other movie, Southpaw.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I had 2 sources saying Jake Gyllenhaal probably going to replace Tom Hardy. Yeah, he's doing Constellations until mid-March, which is a play on Broadway.
Right.
Suicide Squad's supposed to start in April, but I think Jake knows that he's got a certain moment right now.
Yeah.
He's also one of the only sort of major actors who does not have a superhero franchise yet.
Yeah, he was close at one point, right? I mean, with the Spider-Man.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that he'll be really cool in it.
Also, when you look at the casting photo of that entire group that they've cast so far, doesn't Tom Hardy and Jai Courtney look the same? Like, they look the same.
Yes.
They're the same kind of build and
especially
and
with a beard, with that facial hair. It's
Yeah.
like I can't tell them apart.
The only difference is, in my opinion, is Tom Hardy is a far superior actor.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Jai Courtney, but maybe he'll prove me wrong. I'm hoping, but so Mark, when I want some information, when he drops that exclusive, do you go immediately and cover it? Do you call him and say, good one? Do you tweet him? Like, what's Variety's?
I mean, we have another reporter, Justin.
Justin's been on the show.
McNary. One of them wrote the story.
McNary did the story yesterday, but McNary has the Warner Brothers beat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we split the studios up.
Okay.
So I didn't do that, and there was Oscar stuff, but that I had to do. But no, I am happy with giving other people credit for stories in our stories.
Yeah.
And the trades didn't used to. We didn't used to.
We didn't. There was a rule. You didn't do it for whatever reason.
Right.
Same thing with like reps and things like that. But no, when somebody breaks a great story, that's great. Like, and you deserve credit.
Yeah, and I like it when you do get mentioned, Jeff. You always are thanking them on Twitter. Or,
sure. No, I appreciate it when Variety tips its hat because I remember those days when they didn't.
There seems to be one trade out there that doesn't really.
You know what?
give credit.
They actually all do now.
Yeah, do they?
Hollywood Reporter has recently started because they didn't before. But I would credit them, and Deadline throws us a bone occasionally. I mean, they probably do it, with their teeth. Exactly. But no, they have done it, and I appreciate it, and I try to credit Mike for all of his scoops, and Mike and Jen, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So is this kind of a new thing that started to really come out in the past couple months, or is it the past year?
I just don't know. Listen, obviously, I've had very public battles with other people with the trades. I don't know if it's a good look for us. Maybe we're all trying to make peace and just make the trade industry reporting thing look better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because in the movie press, we can all love and be loving to each other.
We just love movies. I mean, that's really at the end of the day.
Right. We're all movie geeks.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be doing this otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. So why can't we all get along? That's
right.
But that was a great exclusive.
Yeah,
great scoop.
I would like to see. I hope it happens.
I hope it happens too. And
love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he'd really fit in there, and I just don't know what else he'd be holding out for.
Yeah,
at this point,
and it doesn't seem like he's like the Joaquin Phoenix type, where he's afraid to maybe take a big franchise.
He got hurt one time on Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
I think that was obviously a bad idea. I think Suicide Squad is maybe the coolest comic book movie in development right now.
Yes.
The one that I'm looking forward to most. And you have the chance to be the leader of the Suicide Squad, as far as I understand Rick Flag. So
yeah, he is. And God, thousands of possibilities for the DCU. He can show up all over the place, and maybe in Justice League down the line. So
yeah, and Warner Brothers likes Jake. I think that they'll make it get it done. I think it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's steer away from a little bit of the comic book news, and let's talk about this one big story that I love, and that's that ensemble piece of pulling in every A-list actor in the book. Jeff, help me out here. What's that damn story? It's The Big Short.
Oh, The Big Short. Yeah.
I couldn't place the name, but man, Christian Bale, Ryan Gosling, and Brad Pitt.
And that was Justin, right?
Yeah, in a movie about the credit crisis.
Right.
Nothing says good time at the theater.
So a lot of van chases,
so
right?
This will make $30 million.
Well, it's interesting. So it's Adam McKay. That's an I mean, I remember reading about he was gonna tackle this, and I was like, huh, Adam McKay doing this. And now with these 3 actors coming in, like, okay, so
4 now. 4. We've got Pitt, Gosling, Christian Bale, and Steve Carell is also in top. So like Steve that Carell is just stacked.
Wow. Okay. So what are you guys' thoughts on this financial crisis movie with all these stars in it?
I mean, I think it'll be good. Yeah, I don't know. I like those kinds of movies.
I do too.
It's good for Hollywood to make those kinds of movies.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't expect a lot of money out of it.
Okay. Is this a prestige pick?
Yeah.
I think you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Adam McKay he's getting into, he's a comedy director, so now he's going to do something a little bit more.
Listen, I'll put it this way: I have more faith in Adam McKay than David Dobkin, who went from comedy to drama with The Judge last year, and it did not go well.
No, except for Robert Duvall, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, let's segue to that real quick.
There's a segue there.
So yeah, Oscar nominations. Robert Duvall got nominated.
Yes.
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good in the Judge, I suppose. I just did not really care for the movie. But there was no 6th best supporting actor contender there was no snub yesterday mentioning other supporting actors.
No, I guess not. I mean, I think you could probably argue you could go from the snubs in the best actor and put Steve Carell in the supporting actor, which I think would kick Robert Duvall out.
Sure. But he got it in lead, so they were right to gamble.
Yeah. So there you go. So guys, just your immediate, I want to hear your immediate reactions to it, Mark.
My big thing was, and we're talking about all the categories?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to discuss. What stood out? Lego movie, whatever it was.
Lego movie, yeah, I was a little surprised by that. Gone Girl should have got adapted screenplay.
Yeah.
I finally caught up on that movie, and yeah, the script is great.
Yeah.
What else? Nightcrawler. Should have gotten more.
Surprising with its guild showings.
Yeah.
It had a lot of momentum.
I was bummed.
That was my biggest. I wanted Gyllenhaal so bad, and I wanted Nightcrawler so bad in there as Best Picture. I mean, I know it just. Well, okay, that was my take on it. So, what were some other ones that just stood out?
Those are my main ones.
Okay.
Otherwise, the Best Picture field is kind of expected.
Yeah, I think the Best
Picture. I'm glad
Picture.
Selma was in there.
Mm-hmm. So, did you think keeping the director out of Selma was a big snub?
Yeah,
I did think so. Yeah, I thought that Ava did a great job.
Yeah, Ava
did. Yeah, but these things, it doesn't make sense. A lot of these don't make sense.
It happens every year. I'm wondering your guys' take. Is this?
I don't think that it makes the Academy racist, though. I think that's just a crazy leap to make.
Yeah, the Academy's big, and there's a lot of different. I read a great article. I'm trying to remember it. It was Variety actually that was like kind of broke down some of the. This perhaps is why, and I think it was, you have a lot of different factions that look at the different movies and
the demographics,
and so it was in regards to the Lego movie actually that I was reading this, I think, and it was, there's like maybe the sensibility of the Lego movie. It's not your average animated movie like How to Train Your Dragon 2 or even
maybe the animation committee just didn't know what to make of it.
Yeah,
very CG heavy.
It's very CG heavy.
Right, they like the sort of handmade animated stuff, which is why Princess Kaguya and Song of the Sea both got in.
Yeah, and they do like stop motion, like the Box Trolls. I mean, I think that's also a sign of it's painstaking to do.
I didn't realize, by the way, that Mike Jones wrote Princess Kaguya, the English translation. He got an Oscar nomination yesterday. Mike Jones used to be the festival editor at Variety.
Nice.
I used to work with him at Variety. I got an Oscar nomination yesterday.
So he wrote it? Or he...
Did he get an Oscar? Wait, did he get an Oscar nomination, or does that go to the producers? I could be totally wrong.
It goes to the producers. I mean, maybe he's a producer from.
He wrote the animated movie. Maybe he is not personally nominated. I don't know.
Maybe
I misread that.
That's like to get nominated for Best Picture animated. That's an Oscar nomination.
Just the fact that he was involved, like he went on to have a very successful screenwriting career, which I thought was cool.
But just on the whitewashing of it.
Let's talk about that.
The Academy is not sitting there thinking, okay, we need a couple women, we need some black actors,
right? And that's how we think about things. Yeah. We'd like to see diversity, and that blows my mind. Yeah, like when people think like, oh, I'm voting for Bradley Cooper because he's white.
Yeah.
Sorry, David LOL.
I mean, you're talking about a very white male organization anyway, so that's gonna happen.
Yeah, so I mean that's all I heard was like, there were the jokes that came out there. Oh, it was a very good year for white people and the Academy Awards and all that kind of stuff. I get that joke and everything, but it's a different kind of thing happening. I don't know.
Listen, I don't want to tip my hand, but yeah, I've gone through this year's movies, and there's a lot more possible black contenders. Like it's cyclical. What do you want me to say? Last year, 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture. Yeah. So yeah, it was a down year. We're talking about two snubs. We're talking about David Oyelowo and Ava DuVernay. Yep. Yeah, I don't think that you can draw too many conclusions from them not being included.
Sure. So, let's go to that. So 12 Years a Slave won last year. What do you think? Do you think Selma has a very good chance, or is it
no?
Okay,
no.
There you go.
I think the Oscars are actually over. I think all the awards the 8 major awards have been decided.
Okay, and let's hear it. I want to hear your guys'
I think Boyhood's going to win picture and director and supporting actress.
Yes. J.K.
Simmons is going to win.
Yes.
Michael Keaton's going to win.
Yes.
Julianne Moore's going to win.
Yes.
Imitation Game's going to win Best Adapted, and Birdman's going to win Best Original. I think that's it. It's over.
And my Oscar pool is done. I'm going to listen to you. That sounds right.
What did you think about any of those?
Mark, yeah.
I think Linklater may not.
You don't think he'll win for that?
I think they're going to split picture and director.
Interesting.
Okay.
Birdman is going to get more.
Do you think Birdman's going to win Best Picture?
I don't
and Linklater?
know. It could. I could.
I think I could see that happening.
You could see Birdman winning Best Picture?
And Linklater getting the Best Director as the nod to that 12 years of filming and everything, because I thought Birdman was a better movie than Boyhood. I love both movies, but Birdman just did it for me. Boyhood is, I think, was my number 3 pick of the year, but yeah.
I could see Birdman winning because maybe it has more of the passion vote. Okay. I could see more people putting it number 1, but I think in general, Boyhood is liked more. It's way less divisive. Birdman's a divisive movie. Some people hate it.
Yeah, it's true.
My family hated it.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, but Birdman or Boyhood?
Birdman.
Birdman.
They'll probably hate Boyhood too.
I know a lot of people have hated Birdman.
So guys, you're out there on the live chat right now. I want to see what are your picks. What do you think? You heard Jeff's picks and Mark. He's saying Boyhood will win Best Picture and Director, you think they'll split. So director for Linklater. Who's your pick for, or who do you see possibly winning Best Picture?
I gotta go with Birdman, I think.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Boyhood, say what you will about it, it is absolutely an achievement, and I think that is what the Academy will want the world to remember Hollywood by this year.
The only thing that annoys me about Boyhood is take the kid out, put different kids in to represent the different age groups,
right,
and it would have been a completely different movie.
I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah. Okay, so does the gimmick deserve all the attention?
Because it's obvious he wasn't an actor. Yeah. I mean, this was somebody that they chose as a little kid, and then he goes through life, and that's great. I liked it. He didn't bother me that much. I mean, you could definitely see that the supporting actors around him were elevating his performance.
Sure. Yeah.
But he felt natural, and you could relate to him. He felt like a real boy. He didn't feel like a movie boy.
I was talking to DreamWorks yesterday, DreamWorks Animation, and normally animated movies take like 3 years or more to make, and the head of DreamWorks said, "Yeah, isn't it interesting? Now live action can empathize with what we go through. This movie took 12 years." So
there you go.
It was a funny point.
Birdman, I just because that's also operating on a bit of a gimmick.
Absolutely.
And I think that is where you're going to see the movie recognized is cinematography, and because there's such great dialogue, screenplay. But yeah, I just think Boyhood
what do you remember more?
Awards. What would I remember? I mean.
For Birdman?
I have never seen a movie like Boyhood.
Yeah.
That's wholly original.
And I think when people are voting, that is going to come into play.
And another, Hollywood patting itself on the back or like giving a movie about actors and writing and directing, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems too easy.
Now, am I right? There was no editing nod for Birdman?
Oh, is that true? I missed that.
Yeah,
yesterday.
I think so.
Well, then it's definitely not going to win. You have to have an editing nod, right? Isn't that what the Oscar people tell us?
I think the editing. Let me just find it real quick, because the editing on that is very important because of that shot. So I think that was a big snub, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, score. And it would have even had more nominations yesterday. Score was ineligible. I mean, obviously, its score was Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, you're right. There's obviously a lot of support for Birdman. Maybe it's more of a race than I'm letting on. But to me, it feels kind of preordained and decided. Yeah. There were a lot of interesting things, though, yesterday. First time that we've had 8 nominees for Best Picture. Mm-hmm. It's always been like 9, I think. Mm-hmm. Bradley Cooper, 3 years in a row.
That's right.
Very rare. Mm-hmm. Silver Linings, American Hustle. And now American Sniper.
That's right.
Next year,
I haven't
American
seen
whatever.
it, and that seemed like a big surprise for people. Now we have a very weird character on this main show named Finstock, who is a great friend of mine. Actually called this. He was like, "No, this is going to happen,"
and surged.
Everybody went, "Nope, nope, nope." Mm-hmm. And guess what? So, were you guys surprised about that?
A little, yeah. No, Eastwood was interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think Clint would get in, and I did want to bring this up. Bennett Miller got in, which I thought was awesome. I love Foxcatcher, but Foxcatcher didn't get nominated.
Yeah.
When do you see a director make the top 5 best directors, but his picture is not one of the top 8 best pictures?
Yeah, that seems always so weird to me, and vice versa. That Selma goes in there and Ava's not in there, so like it just seems weird. So, you guys have both seen American Sniper, okay, and just I mean, I've heard
it was fine. I thought it was good. Bradley was good, whatever. But it did not stand out. No, I thought it was, to me, it was disappointing because I had higher expectations for it.
Yeah, it's the Bradley show.
It's the Bradley show. Okay. And is there any kind of political to this? I mean, it's a...
Yes, absolutely. I think that is why it has surged in recent weeks. It also ended up being, I suppose, the best war movie. I thought it was better than Unbroken. Okay. And better than Fury, honestly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess, yeah.
Okay.
And there are some incredibly intense sequences in it. I thought what American Sniper really needed was a strong number 2 because the supporting cast is a little too forgettable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He needed that movie could have won Best Picture. I thought, if it had really hit all the right notes.
Okay.
But I don't think that it did.
All right. So, well, that's some Oscar stuff, and we got the predictions. Do you guys want to talk about anything else? I guess we should talk about, just for a little bit, the Lego Movie snub. I know we touched on it, but this was the most surprising to me of all, and I just wanted your take. I know you guys said you're surprised. We talked a little bit about, like, maybe the Academy didn't know how to place it because of its kookiness, like, for lack of a better word. So, I mean, is this just a complete screw up on their end?
It is really weird. CG animation is still animation.
Yep.
So that movie was very difficult to produce and to make. It almost didn't happen. It's made a lot of money. Obviously, it has a fan base. It should have been in there.
Absolutely. Sure. I agree, and I thought it was one of the best movies of the year. I loved it, and it's one of the biggest surprises for me because when I heard a Lego movie is coming out, I'm like, how the hell are you going to do that? And for them to do it so well, it made so much money, which is another thing I always feel like the Academy looks at.
Yeah, they do.
And it's just not there. So many people are like, this is bullshit. So
I would probably be up in arms, but I haven't seen it. I feel terrible. It's literally like maybe my number 1 movie of last year that I missed that I really regret.
Hey, I haven't seen Interstellar, so whatever,
Here's why I think it may not have been nominated is they may see it as an ad for Legos. Just the one big branded entertainment commercial.
A little too. Mm-hmm.
So
that's a great point, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, and that's a little bit of your bread and butter, wouldn't you say? So I want to hear a little bit about why would you say it's the brand of this movie for maybe not getting?
Or how important are brands becoming and product placement? Like I know you're the kind of guy who breaks these stories. Like Iron Man is going to be driving this car.
Yeah.
And while some people are like, well, who cares what I'm probably one of those people. Who cares what car Iron Man's driving? It's actually pretty important because these brands are giving a lot of money to the production.
Well, here's just to back up a little. I love marketing, entertainment marketing, and I love what brands are doing in entertainment. Every brand should be doing something in entertainment somehow. Their websites are all basically networks for themselves anyway, and the smart ones get it. Red Bull, GoPro are the best examples.
Bud Light and Transformers 4.
Yeah. These movies, these giant tentpoles are so expensive to make now. And even independent films too, it's hard to get the money. But so a brand can come in and really put that project in front of a lot of people. So a studio will spend about $50 million, $50 million to market a movie. A brand can come in, one brand, and offer up $50 million on their own. that opens it up to a huge audience. So
yeah.
So that's why I care. So and generally it's the electronics companies, the Samsungs, the smartphone makers. It's the car companies who have all the money. And so that's why you'll see, look at James Bond. Like, people know that he drives an Aston Martin. If he drives anything else, it's like, wait, but he drives an Aston Martin. So Audi came in and did that with Iron Man. They're like, no, we're going to be the hero car, and it's worked for them. It's paid off. Like, when they started doing those movies, their brand didn't really matter anymore here in the U.S. And ever since then, they've used movies. iRobot. They started with iRobot, actually, and created a car just for Will Smith to drive. And it blew up. Like, now they're one of the biggest car companies in America, the biggest luxury brand. So,
do you feel like there's a line that the creative side needs to take? Because I brought up Transformers 4. It seemed like it was in your face. Yeah. Every time you turn around, it's like, look at my new shiny thing, or look at my boombox, or look at Bud Light.
It gets gross. Like, it gets gross. And it needs to be handled the right way.
I think E.T. and Reese's.
That's handled the right way. And I would say Audi with Robert Downey Jr. I think that was handled the right way.
Transformers, GM did a great job getting all their vehicles into the movie.
Sure.
Outside of that, I don't need to see any of the other stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's not like Pizza Hut and Ninja Turtles?
I mean, there's a weird Dunkin' Donuts plug in Gone Girl, which...
Oh, yeah.
There are no other brands in the entire movie other than Volvo. He drives a Volvo, which makes sense, but there's a lot of, cups.
Interesting.
Dunkin' Donuts.
So do you think Dunkin' Donuts had some money that they were giving them to do that?
They put in a little. There's licensing fees and product placement fees, and that helps offset production costs.
I want to do just some quick hits for the last 5 minutes of the show.
Let's do it.
Just get your opinions on stuff. Guys, John Krasinski in talks to star in Michael Bay's 13 Hours. Go.
Weird. Very weird.
Yeah.
He's not a star. I don't think he's that a movie star.
Yeah, and to go to a Michael Bay movie, which obviously does huge tentpoles, and this was interesting. You were talking about how Tom Cruise was in line to do it.
So yes, guys, Tom Cruise passed on 13 Hours. Pedro Pascal, you're going to start seeing a lot more of in movies. I think he passed on 13 Hours. There were a lot of people, and eventually, they landed on John Krasinski. And while I am sort of interested in seeing him bulk up in sort of the same way we saw Chris Pratt do Zero Dark 30.
Sure.
I'm with Mark in that I don't necessarily think that he's a movie star. I loved him as Jim on The Office, but like something like Leatherheads, and there's been a couple of other chances that I just, what was it? The Gus Van Sant movie. He was actually okay in that, but yeah, I mean, up against Damon.
Yeah. And
The Promised Land.
Yeah. Could this make him a movie star?
It could if the movie's good. I mean, and that is good material there. The Benghazi Tale from Michael Bay, but
I mean, yeah,
it was weird.
Can Michael Bay do that?
Military movies are hard too because everyone looks the same in them.
Right.
Like once their heads are shaved and everything, it's
right.
He's gonna get a goatee and beard and whatever. So
he's a big dude though. Like I could see him kind of being intimidating. So we'll see.
Sure.
Tom Cruise and Doug Liman re-teaming on Mina. And by the way, these are all brought to you by Justin Kroll of Variety.
Hey, Justin Kroll, past
good
guest.
Week for you, Justin.
Yeah, past guest on
Bastard.
I loved Edge of Tomorrow, so I'm excited to see what they do next.
Me too. I mean, I think I'm so impressed with Doug Liman now. I mean, and Tom Cruise. Well, I always loved Tom Cruise, so count me in.
I guess Deadline did break the Tom Cruise thing. Sorry.
Oh, Deadline broke it?
Sorry, Justin. He still had a good week. But yeah, well, this is Meet the Movie Press. We have to give credit where it's due.
Sure.
I am excited for this, I suppose, but on the other hand, a lot of movies about drug running and it's just Hollywood kind of speaks out of both sides of its mouth and likes to glamorize drugs a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, then it probably sells. What?
Yeah. Oh, I know. We're getting there. We're getting there. Real quick, Ansel Elgort and Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright's new movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited.
Mark's indifferent.
Anything Edgar Wright does, I'm in. Just period.
And that was Justin.
And that was Justin. Okay, so you're not Mark. You're like
I'm not an Ansel fan.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think we're all looking forward to Edgar Wright's next movie.
Yeah.
I've heard a little bit about it. I think it's going to be cool.
Apparently, I hate every actor. But
all right, guys, we've run out of time here.
We have run out of time. So
Mark, take us home.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for always coming in to Meet the Movie Press on Fridays. And go ahead and go to iTunes. And, oh, guys, if there's some problems with your feed, either your subscription through iTunes or whatever it is, we've been getting
I was going to say, tweet at Mark. Don't tweet at me because I don't know anything.
Here's what you need to do. Just, I know it sounds weird, but just subscribe again, okay? Unsubscribe, because there might be we had some issues a while ago. That might be it. Unsubscribe, and then just go right back and subscribe, and that should do it. So no problems there, guys. Just like everything looks okay on our end. We're running smoothly. So just unsubscribe, then subscribe again. And then for all the rest of you guys, share with your friends, subscribe. It keeps the lights on. Comment and do all that good stuff. Yep. And you can find us at Meet the Movie Press on the Popcorn Network on Facebook. Give it a like.
Mark, where can we find you?
Yeah.
Twitter at Marc Graser.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you're working on?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you on.
Yes, thank you very much.
Is such a legit and so reliable, and it was great talking to you, man.
Guys, next time we get the top journalists in town on the show, give my best to the gang over there.
Will do.
I'm at the In Sneider. Find me at the Wrap, and guys, I'm gonna be missing next week's show. I'll be at Sundance. We'll talk about that when I get back.
Absolutely.
So it's all on you, Mark.
And guys, I am Reilly Around at Reilly Around, editor-in-chief. Go visit schmoesknow.com, and guys, we will see you next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.